terms expanded them to go up to 40 minutes.
Very well. So they use that term.
All of those things in education, of course, those things are important.
Oxygen is going to our heads and our lungs.
The affirmations in the mirror for about 2 minutes.
This is amazing.
And doing new things for our brain.
Normal, in a sense, with all of the changes.
Which parts of the brain are used?
Based on that map that we have.
See you with your smiling.
Atul, thank you very much for allowing me to join you. Namaste to you, my friends.
Thank you everyone for tuning in for yet another episode of our Early Childhood Global Spotlight Show. Dear friends, today I'm very happy to be joined by Miss Elizabeth Mulhane from Sydney, Australia. Elizabeth has over 30 years of experience in practicing mindfulness, meditation, and various forms of movement. She has a Bachelor's of Psychological Science honors from Central Queensland University. For her honors degree, she completed a 2-part thesis in mindfulness, well-being, and sound. Ever since, she has been teaching a lot of children as well as training teachers on mindfulness. I welcome Elizabeth on our Spotlight Show. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Atul, and thank you for having me.
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good. So it's evening here. I think it's pretty late in Sydney where you stay. It's around 10 o'clock, I think.
Yep, 9:30 here.
9:30. Yes. So Elizabeth, tell us something about yourself and your experience with mindfulness in early childhood education.
Okay, sure. So I began getting into actually designing courses and things after I worked at just the local Montessori. I was doing the breakfast club in the afternoon club. I was running a chess club and a science club and an arts and crafts, and they asked me to write up a program for an official before and after care service. So I had to learn the early years learning frameworks because Montessori teaches from 3 onwards. And so at the time I was also finishing off my thesis. And so I was starting to incorporate mindfulness. I'd already taught kids through Cub Scouts and gone into schools and childcares and things. But when I really embraced the early years learning framework, I saw that it was just a wonderful way to teach children or teach childcare teachers how to teach children mindfulness and meditation through integrating mindfulness and meditation with their frameworks that they already have. So, a lot of childcare teachers are really overworked. So it's about teaching them how to embrace mindfulness within themselves, and then also how to integrate it into the programs that they've already have or design new programs.
All right, great. So what is mindfulness, Elizabeth? Is there a specific definition to it, or is it different for children, or young people?
Mindfulness is basically paying attention in a particular way on purpose. So we're bringing our attention consciously to what we're doing. We're stopping that autopilot that people often can get into, and we're just really being here now. And of course it's more than that. We're embracing like a compassionate sense of being. We're bringing intention into our moment to moment awareness, and for children we do just the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So mindfulness of body, that can be mindfulness of breath or mindful walking, doing body scans, all that kind of thing. And then there's mindfulness of feelings. So we're going into the emotions and sensations that we can have, and then children can learn to pay attention to what they're feeling emotionally, and then also where those emotions may be occurring within their body. Sometimes when you're very upset, you can actually feel that in your brain or in your throat or even in your tummy. Or if you're very angry, you can feel a lot of tension. And so we're getting children to connect with how they're actually feeling as well, and labeling those emotions. So we're just teaching them to really label and understand how they're feeling. And then there's the third foundation, which is obviously mindfulness of thoughts, and we're learning to not only be aware of what we're thinking, but then also we're cultivating better ways of thinking. We're bringing in a more compassionate way of living, and just living with intention. And then there's the fourth level, which is mindfulness of mental phenomena or mental objects, which is, it's really comes down to, it's a lot broader topic to understand. It involves our perception. A lot of time people don't understand that what we hear and see, like our perception of reality, is based on, we'll hear something, we'll take it in, but we process that with the information that we already have in our mind on what we believe, on our worldviews. And mindfulness can help us bring awareness to that. And so we're always striving to move towards perceiving true reality rather than just our own perception of reality based on those beliefs. And we can bring a more open-mindedness approach to listening to people, or even to comprehending what's been said. So that's the four foundations: body, emotion, thought, and mental objects. But the mental phenomena is also understanding that we can hold mental objects in our mind, and we do, and we must. That's how the psyche operates. We operate through all that mental phenomena that's in there, and a lot of it is junk, really, and it can really disturb us, and we can just have mental phenomena. Can be thoughts, or it can also be things that are just happening in your mind's eye, like memories, and they just kind of sit there, but they come into your conscious everyday living, and they can really affect your perception. And so mindfulness can help us become aware of what's really going on in our body and in our mind, and how that's affecting our reality. And so when we're teaching children, it's hard to teach them mental phenomena, to understand that, obviously, but we can still teach them even to that degree, just through, cloud viewing. You look at the clouds, and you can teach a child, what can you see? And then you can, they'll all see different things, and then you can start to show them that that's what's going on in your mind, and it's reflecting in the clouds, but it's actually from your mind's eye. And so we can just touch on it and just basically get them to understand mental phenomena like that. Or we could have them stare at a picture of Metatron's cube. I love working with Metatron's cube. It's just a picture of all the shapes, geometrical shapes. But when you stare at it, the different shapes will come forward. And for children, it's almost like magic. 1 minute a triangle's coming forward, the next minute a square's coming forward, or a rectangle, or all the other shapes. And it's really all just based on perception and how the individual is seeing it. No two people will see the same shapes coming up. And the main thing we want to teach children is really to get into that mindfulness of body, because children are naturally mindful. It's really as we age that we we forget to be mindful. When we're children, we have that child mind where everything's new. And because everything is new and we're learning so much as children, it's very easy to stay present and to be mindful just naturally. But then as we age and everything starts to be the same old, that's when people start to just habituate, go on automatic pilot, and they can even get to the point where listening to other people becomes a problem, because you can be listening to someone and instead of really listening, you're thinking about what you're going to say, or you're thinking about what they might really mean. You know, you're putting all this extra stuff onto just listening, whereas children don't do that. They just listen. So what we're trying to do is really keep them where they already are.
Okay. So how is it actually beneficial for our little ones? You know, why usually I have seen it's something related to several exercises to train the mind and the heart to follow your emotions. Isn't it too big for small children to learn? How is it beneficial? What are the changes that you've seen in children when they learned mindfulness?
Well, what we're really trying to do is to actually give them that language, saying things like practice your mindfulness, practice some mindfulness of breath. We're really giving them that language, so their brain is still forming, and so we're integrating mindfulness and the language of mindfulness, and that's what's important, that we're actually using the word, because we're programming their little minds that, we do mindfulness. Mindfulness is good. Mindfulness helps us. And just by creating all those neural connections that, mindfulness is a part of life, then, and we're doing that from a very young age, we're cultivating a little mind that is going to grow up understanding and appreciating mindfulness and just using it, rather than when I worked with my Cub Scouts.
Does it help children in any way to control their emotions?
Definitely. Yes. And because it helps children also identify what they're feeling, and then just consciously engage in the fact that they can take a few deep breaths, or just focus in on just a normal cycle of breath, and they can learn that just paying attention on purpose to their breathing can help them calm down and can help them, particularly at rest time. It's very good for children to
see. One of the pain areas, or I will say, there are a lot of children that we get who are very hyper in their behavior from a very early age. Will it also be beneficial for those kind of children in case their mothers and they are taught to being mindful, and if they're taught somehow to use those breathing exercise to calm down? Have you had
if they're taught the right way? Mindfulness also includes loving kindness meditations, gratitude meditations. So again, we're cultivating their mind, we're cultivating a way of being and a way of having compassion and just having that loving kindness for people, and then creating a mental phenomena within their mind that like some particular exercises, for example, they can do a loving kindness exercise for just thinking about that one special person, and thinking about that person in their mind and holding that person in their mind with thoughts of loving kindness, and then they can expand that to include other people. So we're teaching them at a really young age that they should be cultivating their thoughts in that way. So if children are, a lot of children that are hyperactive are very egotistical still. They're very, it's all about me. Children are naturally like that, but when they're more hyperactive, it seems to be amplified. And so when we give them those kind of meditations to do, and we teach them how to cultivate better ways of thinking, like bringing loving kindness in, bringing gratitude in, then it's a way of rewiring their brain, and that can certainly help them in their relationships with other people.
Wonderful. I think that's really going to help a lot of mothers and teachers in teaching, and I will say helping the little ones in controlling their fears or whatever is going on in their mind, or their emotions. So you've been teaching mindfulness to children and preschool teachers, and what are the top 5 ways mindfulness can be taught to the little ones?
Well, mindfulness of breath obviously is an important one, where they're just consciously engaging with their breath, because obviously we don't need to consciously engage with our breathing. We breathe automatically. So that's one way children do not naturally practice mindfulness, because they do not consciously engage with a focus on their breathing. And so we can teach them mindfulness of breath and have them purposefully concentrate in a particular way, which is on their breath. And what we do in mindfulness is we want to create the breath as an anchor. And so all the little tiny 2-minute sessions, because that's what's very important. It's very important that when we're teaching a child mindfulness of breath, that we really only do that for 2 minutes, because they're very young, and that's a long time to focus on your breath. As an adult, 5 minutes of focusing just on your breath a few times a day is a very good practice. So we certainly don't want to lay children on the floor and have them practicing mindfulness of breath for 20 minutes. We just want to do little 2-minute sessions, but repeat them throughout the day. And so we're really, like I said, we're wiring them, we're rewiring them, or integrating mindfulness into their everyday life, into their everyday language. And then when they continue to do this, then instead of being reminded to practice mindfulness of breath, the mind will remind the individual, go back to my breath, focus on my breath. And then when we can learn to do that, all the dramas that we have in life, relationship problems, all of this, instead of racing away with emotions, we can return to the breath. And that's the key to just coming back to the now.
I have myself practiced that some time back, to focus on my breath. And sometimes you do it so hard that a person like me will fall asleep after some time. It can actually calm you down to that level. Actually, and you will forget about everything that is happening all around. And that's what was happening when with this yoga class that I attended a few months back. And I had so many people actually falling to sleep because they went so deeply into doing this kind of meditation that actually it helped them relax a lot, and relax to an extent at such a peak time when your energy is very high, you actually again fall asleep. Maybe, I'm not sure, that could be one of the things. Anyways,
Yeah, well, when you try, and you can still get down into that alpha brainwave, but still have that creative, curious mindset, and so you have more energy within you, and so you don't fall to sleep. But it's just practice, and yeah, you can get to the stage where you come out really revived, like without have fallen to sleep, but just coming out really energized and just feeling just alive, rather than you've had a good sleep. It's not really for nap time.
there were some people actually, so even once I also. Anyways, what is mindful breathing, Elizabeth? Do we show the videos first, or how is it?
Sure, yeah. I do work a lot. That's my granddaughter in the videos, and I work a lot with my granddaughter. I've been teaching my granddaughters mindfulness since they were pretty much born. They started with mindfulness of smell. They're smelling everything. But we can have a watch and see how Athena was practicing her mindfulness of breath.
Yes. So let's
She's
play
two,
the first one when she was small.
2 years
We
old.
play the first video. Oh, she was 2 years old. That's very very young age for somebody to start learning something like this. Let's play it. Wow.
She's a darling.
Amazing, amazing. You want me to play the second one now?
Now she's 4 in the second one.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Athena, would you teach everyone some mindfulness of breath?
Yes.
Okay, how do you do it? You count how many you're going to do? How many breaths are you going to do?
1,
Yeah,
2,
yeah,
3,
uh-huh.
5. 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1
Yeah.
and 2
Yeah.
and 3.
You're going to do 3. Okay, ready? That was so good. Thank you so much for demonstrating that. High five.
Amazing. I think I haven't seen such a young child practicing and trying to do something like that. So definitely. So since it's
She's
your
also,
granddaughter, she had to be.
yeah, and she's also doing mindfulness of thought now as well. She's working on, for example, she was on the trampoline the other day, and she was learning to bounce on her knees and stand up, and then bounce on her bottom and go back up. And she was not able to do it to start with, and she was getting quite annoyed. And then I said to her, okay, so why are you feeling annoyed? What are you thinking? What makes you get annoyed that you can't do that? And then she said the thoughts that she was thinking, oh, I think I can't do it. And then that upsets me. And so I said, okay, so how about we change those thoughts around? And when you have that thought, you let that thought go and you just replace that thought with, I can do it, I will do it. It may take time, and I gave her just different examples that she could use.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
each time she failed.
So mindfulness along with positive, thinking and, reiterating those positive affirmations
Exactly.
continuously. So that's a extended practice that you, I think, put in. So that's amazing. Yeah. Carry on, please. So.
Oh, well, she learned to just pretty much, I could see her, she failed and she just stopped for a second, and I could see that she'd used a better mantra, as you say, and then just kept doing it, and then eventually she got it and she was happy, but she was happy along the way. She's happy as she kept failing because she was using a better train of thought. And there's been other times where she's got annoyed with something and I've said, Athena, take a moment. What did you think about that made you annoyed? And what could you have thought so that you could still fail and not feel annoyed by that? And so she's just really learning to turn those thoughts all around, because it's important to understand too that, the thoughts that we have, a lot of them are really genetic. They don't, they're actually from our ancestors. So, I mean, it can be a long journey, but when we get them young, we can really turn them around and really cultivate that thinking. And when you cultivate that positive thinking style, you're setting them up for flourishing, and from a young age. When we do it at a young age,
and we have ourselves seen, if you teach something to that early age, between this age of 2 to 5 years, when their brain development is happening, there are a lot of habits that they will carry lifelong. This is the appropriate time to teach them all this. So
exactly.
Amazing. Yes.
And
yes, you were saying?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I learned too when I was, because I was a Cub Scout teacher, Cub Scout leader for 4 years, and that was with children from 7 to 11. And so really I was only really teaching them mindfulness of body through mindful eating, because they had already been introduced to mindfulness in their school through listening to apps, and they hated mindfulness. They hated it. And, so I'd get the Maltesers, the chocolate Maltesers out, and they'd have to suck on the Maltese and just leave it. To start with, I said to them, when the very first time we practiced, I said, okay, everybody, we're going to do some mindful eating. If you don't want to do mindful eating, actually, I said, we're going to do some mindfulness. If you don't want to participate, just go and stand against the wall. And out of the 24 children, 3 of them were still sitting there. And I think that was because they just really liked me and felt sorry for me. And so then I came out with all these cups of Maltesers, and I said, all right, I'll give you all a second chance if you want to change your mind and try mindfulness. And we're going to do mindful eating with Maltesers. And so they all came back in and sat down, and they loved it. They really loved it. They really enjoyed it. They had to, it kind of became a little bit competitive, which is what Cub Scouts is all about. And it was who could keep that Malteser in their mouth for the longest. And then they were all saying, oh, what a great way to eat Maltesers, instead of just munching them all down. But it was shocking to see that, what can happen when we just sit them in front of an app when there's 30 of them. Even my own son, who has been practicing mindfulness from day dot, hated doing mindfulness at school. And he said, we didn't even do it. We just sort of sat there bored until it was over. And so it is just a shame what's happening. And so that's why I'm starting off with childcare and trying to teach childcare teachers how to teach it, and how to teach it in ways that are really enjoyable. So they're not thinking they know what they're doing and laying the children on the floor for extended periods, but bringing in movement, bringing in fun activities for the children.
Right. Amazing. I think that's great. So you promote a non-profit awareness campaign also. I saw somewhere that it's Mindful Smiles Day, which is May 18th. Can you tell us a little more about this?
Sure.
I like it, Mindful Smiles Day. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Mindful Smiles Day is about mindful brushing, and it's really an awareness campaign for parents, because sometimes the hardest thing to do is to have your child formally practice every day, twice a day. And when we teach them to brush their teeth properly, we can teach them to do that with mindfulness right from the get-go. And children want to do what's good for them. They don't want to do things that are boring, but if you're teaching them that if they brush their teeth with mindfulness and they really pay attention on purpose for that, where that toothbrush is polishing gently over every surface of every tooth, then we're showing them that, you're going to have a nice smile. It's going to, you've got your formal practice straight away, 3 minutes twice a day. They're the child standing there really formally practicing mindfulness, and they're benefiting not just through mental health, but also oral hygiene. So, it's a much better way, where usually children kind of left on their own to brush their teeth, and they just habituate. They go onto automatic pilot, and swing off the handrails or move around or try and have a conversation. And so you're stopping all that, and you're teaching them that by brushing their teeth correctly, they're going to keep those teeth, because and I say to my children, if you don't brush your teeth properly and if you don't use mindfulness, by the time you're 50, half of those teeth won't be there. So put a bit of fear in there. But yeah, my son he's 13. I've got 5 children. 4 of them are all grown up. I've got my 2 grandchildren now. My 13-year-old, he will still stand there now and formally practice mindfulness twice a day, and bring that into his brushing. And so I just feel that's why I created May 18 as the awareness day. And it's just to teach parents, to remind parents that, it's a really easy and really practical way to bring formal mindful training into their children's lives in a way that the children will do, because they know that it will benefit them.
Fantastic. I think that's a very good campaign that you started. You do it, you will do it every year on May 18th, or you just did it once? How is it?
Well,
You will do it every
I
year?
promote it through my Facebook group and my page, and then through my teachers course, I get them to promote it to the parents as well. So,
Fantastic.
and then
Please,
so
please,
it's
this
just
time on May 18th, we are there with you. We will join the campaign. You will have to teach us, and we'll be more glad and happy to join this Mindfulness Smiles Day with you. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I've also seen that you offer internationally accredited mindfulness teacher course for childhood educators. Can you tell us a little more about it?
Sure. It's an 8-week part-time program.
Okay.
They download a 60-page workbook. And so they're doing the workbook. They're using the workbook to help them design their own programs along the way. And there's reading in the workbook. And then they go online and do watch the lectures. And there's some quizzes and assignments. And through the assignments, they're just telling me about their own experience with the different meditations they've had to try. And then some of the assignments are script writing. So they're learning how to write these 2-minute scripts of mindfulness of breath, mindful eating, loving kindness, or gratitude meditations. And then they're understanding how they can connect with their own programs, with their own frameworks. So they're integrating that once more. And through the course, it's really packed with knowledge, because I use a lot of the information that I took from my thesis, and also a lot of, I've studied every religion. I love learning, and there's a module on just consciousness. They'll learn about cognitive behavioral therapy in a mindfulness-based understanding. So it's really about teaching them to really embrace the practice, and to just come alive with all the knowledge that they learn through the course.
Yeah.
And
so
just really embrace the practice and love the practice themselves. And then of course they get I mentor. They have the three mentoring sessions just to tailor. So I think it's really important when you offer an online program that you still have that one-on-one for that individual and their personal needs. So they have that. And then we have a support group. We're all together in our own private group for just that additional support. And then the program also comes with a 10-week mindfulness-based creative play program. And that's all about, so they just can download that program and run it in their centre. And that's all about bees and the environment. And so I'm showing them, it's like scaffolding for them. So I'm showing them how, like, here's a program that's all about bees, all about the environment, and teaching children to appreciate bees and understand how important bees are for our environment and everything we get from bees. But then they're also doing, mindful eating and loving kindness exercises and gratitude exercises through the program. And they're doing crafts. And so that program also comes with the craft booklet and the script, like a meditation script booklet for them to, so it's easy. It's like this whole program set out. And then they can look at that, they can run that, and then they can also see, okay, I can take everything I've learned from my own assignments, and I can build something.
What is the total hours that a person need to invest in these 8 weeks?
2 to 3
is there some fixed average? How many hours a day somebody will need to invest in case somebody is interested?
Sure, 2 to 3 hours a week. Yep, and that's all they need. It's really
2 to 3 hours a week, right?
Yes.
Yes, and for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks.
So this information is given to them time to time every week, or it is given, the whole program is explained by you in the beginning of the 8-week program, and they are on their own, and they will have to look forward for those 3 sessions that you have. So can you?
Sure. Well, they log on. We have an official start date where our actual next program is officially starting on the 12th of October. And so I try to run everyone through as a group. and so then we're interacting with the Facebook group, and so I'll put on, there's a few days a week where I'll go into that group and I'll post bonus material or just engagement to keep them engaged.
Understood. Yes. So it's basically an interaction which will happen almost every day through the group, and then you will keep giving them some assignments also which they need to do in the week, and then they will have a session. So it is completely an engaging 8-week program. So they get a certificate at the end of these 8 weeks. Is there a certificate that you provide?
Yeah, it's an internationally accredited course. We have 2 affiliates that have accredited the course for us. The IMMA, which is the International Mindfulness and Meditation Alliance. They've looked through the course and they've accredited it and given it the international accreditation. So yeah, they're totally internationally accredited mindfulness for children teachers. And then it's also, if they're looking for continuing development points, CBT Standards has also given it an international accreditation for 40 points of continued learning.
Okay, all right. So these teachers or educators who learn these groups, can they teach it to parents and their children in their neighborhood? Can they also extend these courses to other people in their neighborhood? How is that? Is there?
Yeah, definitely. The bulk of the teachers are childcare teachers, but I also have psychologists and life coaches and people that are just doing the course because they want to go into their own private practice. And yeah, so I also give them a mindful eating program, which is like from 7 to adult. So they get, and because they understand mindfulness so well within themselves after the course, yeah, they're quite confident to teach outside of their childcare.
Okay, so they can. Amazing. I think, Elizabeth, this can go on for a very long time, but we are already close to our 40 minutes discussion that we had, and thankfully we finished it on time. And really glad to know about mindfulness, that you are practicing such a unique thing for children in early childhood. So friends, today we got some brilliant insights from Elizabeth on mindfulness in early years. I hope this discussion is beneficial for a lot of you. Elizabeth, I would request you to post your Facebook page or YouTube or the group link on our chat below once we are through, so that people can contact you in case they are interested to join your course on mindfulness. Okay. So great. My sincere thanks to you, Elizabeth, for for giving and sharing such an insightful talk with us on the excellent work that you have been doing. And I also thank all the viewers on Facebook for taking your precious time out to watch this show live. May you all have a great evening and happy weekend. Thank you, Elizabeth, again. Stay safe until we meet again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.